Grenada and the rest of the world. It is the 12th day of October 2018. Folks, I'll tell you what, this morning we're going to cut some corners. And the reason for that is that I want to bring you a conversation which you may have missed yesterday. During my chat with Allan yesterday morning, our usual Thursday morning tete-a-tete, he opened up my eyes to a number of matters which should be of grave concern to us all. Again, I really do hope for the good of this country that we are listening. We'll get into that right after we listen to today's edition of the National Report. And we'll get to the National Report right after this.
Grenada Market has now introduced the Prime products to online shoppers in the UK via amazon.co.uk. Zeberpick, Nutmeg, Bourbonday and Mobiback are now available, with more products being added gradually. These products are shipped across the UK and Europe free of charge for Amazon Prime members and backed by Amazon's reputable customer service. Avoid international shipping. Buy in your local area. Amazon.com in the USA, Amazon.ca in Canada, and Amazon.co.uk in UK and Europe. GRENADAMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
GRENADA Community Partnership Initiative.
What we have seen with the quality of the debate, the intellect, the effort that has gone into this is a credit, first of all, to the debaters themselves. But it's also a credit to the teachers, to our schools, to our parents who would have worked with those students to get them to where they are today. Us who sit in Parliament should be inspired by what we have seen today, and I think we can learn something from what has been presented here today.
GRENADA, energizing our community.
So babe, Alberto and Beryl come and gone, right? So that means we still have Chris, Debbie, Florence, Michael, Patty, Sarah.
From the looks of it, Tony and Valerie might be coming as well. So we need to pick up some extra hurricane supplies.
You don't know how many hurricanes will be coming this season, so you need to be prepared. At Hubbard's Hardware and Building Supply Departments and the Food Fair supermarkets, everything from canned foods, flashlights and batteries, to plywood, tarpaulin, lanterns, roof repair kits, water tanks, etc. are available. For over 90 years, we've helped you prepare for and recover from storms. Hubbard's is an integral part of your hurricane preparedness plan. Get discounts when using credit and debit cards.
Grenada's Prime Minister highlights need for economic resilience of small states at World Bank meeting in Indonesia. Details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details in the news for Thursday, 11th October 2018, I'm Delroy Lozon. Grenada's Prime Minister, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, has underscored the need for the economic resilience of small states like Grenada. Addressing delegates attending the Small States Forum 2018 in Bali, Indonesia on Thursday, Prime Minister Mitchell noted that in today's globalized economic system, economic resilience means being globally competitive in niche, low-income but high-value markets. Dr. Mitchell said it's important to continue the narrative of small states not being defined by their disadvantages, but also by their distinct advantages. The need to focus on the blue and green economy as well as technology was one of the key streams of work in keeping with the priority areas identified for small states. Dr. Mitchell also highlighted some of the successes during his tenure as chairman.
The core allocations for either eligible small states have more than doubled, as Mr. Lin already said, from $0.73 billion US dollars to either 17 to 1.5 billion US dollars under either 18 special feat indeed. Indeed, some small states have even seen a tripling of their allocations. We have already seen rapid implementation of this in the Caribbean following last year's devastating hurricanes. In particular, support to Dominica was fast-tracked. Speaking specifically from my own country's perspective, the World Bank has certainly delivered to my country. We agreed with the World Bank that almost 50% of our IDA would be fast-tracked and front-loaded as budgetary support, a significant initiative indeed. This transaction, which received board approval earlier this year, has been called the world's first fiscal resilience and blue growth development policy operation.
Since the 2015 Small States Forum, members agreed on a number of priorities, including inclusion of vulnerability as a criterion for concessional financing, predictability of affordable financing, debt sustainability, access to new and existing climate change financing, capacity building, and technical assistance. As he handed over the chairmanship Thursday, Dr. Mitchell provided an update on the status of these priorities.
Inclusion of vulnerability as a criteria for concessional financing. Yes, we have made progress in terms of the vulnerability report, but urgent follow, colleagues, friends, sisters and brothers, is needed. 2, predictability of affordable financing. Yes, I say yes to that here. We have made significant strides, particularly through IDA, as I mentioned earlier on, especially in the case of my own country. But we look forward to the new developments with the IBRD. Thirdly, debt sustainability. Many small states have taken on the mantra of debt sustainability. However, in the context of climate change and the new IPCC report, it will be hard to maintain the ideal debt to GDP ratio, particularly if there is a lack of concessional financing.
The Small States Forum is held during the annual meeting of the World Bank and International Monetary Fund. Chairmanship of the forum rotates among member states every 2 years. Dominica's Prime Minister, the Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, says acceding to the appellate jurisdiction of the Caribbean Court of Justice is in the interests of the people of Grenada and the region. Addressing a public consultation at the Wester Hall Secondary School on Wednesday, Mr. Skerrit said it is time we begin to look after our own affairs as independent states. Dominica is already accessing the court in its original and appellate jurisdictions. Mr. Skerrit said young people especially should be part of the process.
Because you are securing your future and your own protection as a citizen of Grenada and a resident of the Caribbean community. And to you, my dear aunties and grannies and uncles and grandpas and so on, you need to go out to vote yes, to ensure that your children, we just in the waiting room as far as you're concerned, but our children and grandchildren are yet to come.
Local attorney Kim George urged those in attendance to embrace the opportunity to access justice through the referendum process.
And I don't think we should allow the opportunity to pass us as a people. Because it is here, I want to suggest that we grab it, that we take advantage of it come the 6th of November, because I have no doubt that the infrastructural issues and challenges that we are presently facing in relation to our court system, those will pass. I have no doubt about it. And if those pass without us ascending to the CCJ, then the CCJ will remain a live issue. It will remain something that I suspect if we don't embrace it on the 6th of November, we might live to regret as an opportunity.
This is the National Report. More news after the break.
The house was shaking. Then suddenly saw we here, babe. Crack. And the roof had gone.
Man, I was so scared, I nearly wet myself.
Only those who have lived it can truly understand the devastating fury of a hurricane's wind.
The house across the road just get up and roll over.
Hurricane force wind. It's a hazard. Hazards. Take control. Reduce your loss. You can hurricane-proof your home. For example, make your roof more wind-resistant by using screws instead of nails in its construction. Find out more about hurricane force winds and other hazards at your local disaster office. A message from the National Disaster Management Agency and SEDERA.
Welcome back. Grenada will host the 3rd Global Conference on Health and Climate Change with special focus on small island developing states next week. The 2-day meeting, which begins on Tuesday, 16th October at the Radisson Grenada Beach Resort in St. George's, would be jointly led by Dr. Joy St. John, the Assistant Director General for Climate and Other Determinants of Health at the World Health Organization, WHO, Dr. Carissa Etienne, Director of the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, and Grenada's Minister for Health, Social Security and International Business, the Honorable Nicholas Steele. The high-profile meeting will bring together more than 20 health ministers, permanent secretaries, and climate change focal points. A number of local, regional, and international observers and stakeholders with special interest in matters of health and climate change are also expected to participate in the conference, which is already attracting regional and international attention. With preparations already underway for this important meeting, Minister Steele told GIS that Grenada was able to host the meeting because of this government's decisive leadership on matters that touch and concern climate change and its impact on overall human health. Minister Steele added that the conference will signal to the world Grenada's seriousness on matters of health and climate change, especially at a time when the island's first ever climate-smart health facility at the Princess Alice Hospital will be handed over and commissioned 1 day before the official meeting begins. And that concludes the National Report for Thursday, 11th October 2018. Now for a recap of the main story in the news. Grenada's Prime Minister highlights need for economic resilience of small states at World Bank meeting in Indonesia. On behalf of all of us here at the GIS, I'm Delroy Loza, thanking you for viewing.
Okie doke. So that's going to take care of the National Report for today, Friday. And just before I move along, I want to turn here to Facebook for just a wee bit. I see that Uncle Chester is out there, loyal fan in Switzerland. Thank you so much, Chef, for joining us. Deborah Parker Stratus Robinson. Girl, couldn't you find a shorter name? Deborah Parker Stratus Robinson. Nice to have you along with us this morning. Debbie, you're up a little bit early. And bring out the hot dogs, okay? Bring out those Frankfurters. I'm going to stop by this weekend. Just kidding. Now, hello there in Ajax. That's just east of Toronto. Our good friend Clive Devers is out there with us. Clive, when are you coming back? Hurry up and come on back down. Need to see you here. Say hi to Jackie for me. And as I mentioned, we're zipping along this morning because yesterday, for those of you who joined us, we got some comments about it. Some interesting statements were made by Mr. Allan Baczynski when we had our little tete-a-tete yesterday morning. And I really honestly believe that these are comments which need to be heard over and over again. We have some interesting times ahead of us, and the more knowledge you get, the better for you when it comes to your decision-making process. So we're going to take a little break here, and we'll come on back with a rebroadcast of that segment that I had with Allan yesterday morning.
I'm always on the move. Training, traveling, competing. So it's good to know I have Co-op Bank in the palm of my hand.
Introducing e-banking, one of many customer convenience services from Grenada Cooperative Bank, and there's more to come.
It's swift, simple, and secure.
Welcome home.
Can I have a chicken lunch, please? Large.
Real nice today.
I don't want that.
But you just asked for a chicken lunch.
I don't have problem with the lunch. Afraid the container.
What is the problem with it?
These styrofoam containers, they don't good for the environment. They shorten with life.
What foolishness you telling me? So what you want me to use?
Put my food in this.
Where you get that?
At the food fair, where you could get all biodegradable food boxes and disposable food supplies like cups, plates, anything you could think about. Name it, it's there. And they don't harm the environment. Food Fair, taking the lead in cleaning up and protecting the environment. Hey, like you take me advice, you get in your biodegradable food supplies.
Well, girl, I supporting who's supporting the environment. That is why I shop in at Food Fair.
Food Fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets. Product.
After a hurricane, exercise caution as you may still be in danger. Be alert and keep listening to the media for official instructions. Assume all wires are energized and stay away from them. Avoid water that is in contact with poles and lines. Report all emergencies and outages by calling GRENADA at 237. If your home or business sustains damage and you are safely able to get to the main switch, turn off the power immediately. Get a licensed electrician to check your home for damage before restoring the power. GRENADA will ensure that island-wide power is safely restored within the shortest possible time, with essential services restored first. For more information, please visit us at www.grenlec.com.
GRENLEC, energizing our Grenada.
Grenada Market has now introduced the Prime products to online shoppers in the UK via amazon.co.uk. Zeberpick, Nutmeg, Bourbonday and Mobiback are now available, with more products being added gradually. These products are shipped across the UK and Europe free of charge for Amazon Prime members and backed by Amazon's reputable customer service. Avoid international shipping. Buy in your local area. Amazon.com in the USA, Amazon.ca in Canada, and Amazon.co.uk in UK and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Now, those of you who were with us yesterday morning might recall that when Allan and I began that conversation yesterday, the first words that came from his mouth were, "I am mad." Okay? Let's pick it up from there. Oy, oy, oy. I mean, I came on the air this morning boasting about how proud I am, how happy I am, and you're telling me you're damn vexed? Well, go.
You see, it was advertised earlier this week with the theme continuing breaking the chains of colonialism, which is such a misnomer that I was prepared to give them the benefit of the doubt, but no, I damn vexed. Because the advertised presentation was to feature the Prime Minister of Dominica. Now, let me say that it has not escaped notice that the first Prime Minister they involved in this thing from outside has no opposition in Parliament. This Prime Minister in Dominica effectively has no opposition in Parliament. I think the last time I checked, they had one opposition seat. But even though I think the population of Dominica is about 75,000, less than ours, they have a lot of seats in Parliament, completely unjustified by the size of the electorate. One might argue the 15 seats that we have is unjustifiable by the number of voters that we have on the list. But nevertheless, there is no parliamentary opposition in Grenada. There is no parliamentary opposition in Barbados. I speak subject to correction, but effectively there's no parliamentary opposition in Dominica. And yet, these are the examples being trotted forward ad nauseum to convince us that it is a priority to interfere with our Constitution to entrench the provisions which will put the CCJ as our final court of appeal. It also has not escaped notice that regardless of all the lip service being paid to the quality of Caribbean jurists and the history of Caribbean jurisprudence, that an application for admission to the local bar was considered by the local high court. And after considering two branches, one being qualifications and the other being suitability, as in a fit and proper person, the High Court did not find favor with the application. An appeal was made to the OECS Supreme Court, which after due consideration of 3 judges on appeal, the ruling of the lower court was upheld. Now, these individuals who want to break the chains of colonialism, not being satisfied with the decisions of Caribbean jurists, have now, despite their protestations of the Privy Council being too far removed and being inaccessible because of cost, and being manned by jurists who have no understanding of Caribbean culture or our mores and behavior, they've gone to the Privy Council. The self-same Privy Council that they want to break the chains from. Now, what is worse is that those who were involved in bringing forward the application have not removed themselves from the process, but in fact seem to be ensuring the outcome, because if what I read in the newspaper last week is accurate, our Attorney General is not arguing the case before the Privy Council. So it is entirely likely that the application will succeed for want of any opposition. So the left hand and the right hand are so tightly bound in this matter as to make me damn vexed.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is the month of October, and it's 35 years since the implosion of the revolution. And who were the people involved? We know them well. And one of those who at trial claimed to take responsibility, he was being a hero, claimed to take responsibility for the decision to murder Maurice Bishop and all the others by lining them up against a wall in Fort George and concentrating machine gun fire on them at close range. That individual is now, 35 years later, being proposed as a fit and proper person. Now, in the interim, he has demonstrated brilliant academic achievements, has authored a book which confirms that he is a treasonous person in that he was involved in moving at dawn to overthrow the legitimately elected government of Grenada. There must be people outside who can provide witness to the character of the individual with regard to certain activities at the PRA camp in Pearls. The victims are still alive. But we're not hearing from them at the Privy Council. In fact, we're not hearing from anybody opposed at the Privy Council. And it seems to me that are damn vexed. Now, 35 years later, it seems to me that it is a good time for us to consider what caused the demise of the revolution, what led to the decision to enforce the principles of democratic centralism, what led early in September to one John Chalky Vento being recorded as saying the Afghanistan solution will resolve this impasse. As early as September, it wasn't until the 19th of October that they murdered Grenadians at Fort George. And then certain individuals, and they are still alive, and there are people who know who they are, were involved in scooping up the remains of what were human beings, putting them onto trucks, using fire hoses to wash down the blood and guts. Those individuals are still there. They are known, and we, 35 years on, are considering that we should accept an argument of fit and proper at damn vex. And all of this is not conjecture on my part because I wasn't here. So I'm not saying this is what I think or what I know, but it is recorded, faithfully recorded in Soviet style, actually which is very similar to Nazi German style. All of these proceedings were faithfully recorded and subsequently in interviews by independent journalists. And in that regard, I would proffer the book written by Hugh O'Shaughnessy of The Observer, published in 1984, where he investigates what led to this. And ultimately, what led to it was the stupidity of those so-called young intellectuals who were brainwashed by Bernard Cord into following a Marxist-Leninist doctrinaire position because their revo was failing due to lack of popular support, and they needed a scapegoat. And the scapegoat was their own dear leader, Maurice Bishop. And let me tell you, I still damn vexed.
You finish?
I'm vexed.
Yeah, but you finish?
Yeah.
Amy, let me bring something up here for a minute. I started the program this morning by saying how happy I was, and I was exercising my rights to be happy, and I had good reason to be happy. I am also going to exercise another right now, and it's a right that I'm hoping, when you see the way this country is going, I'm hoping that I still have the right to freely express myself. Okay, just like you just did. Amy, you mentioned a little while ago you were concerned about whether or not the outcome of the referendum was a foregone conclusion, or words to that effect. Maybe you're not the only one who shares that views. I was here on March 13th. I saw the outcome of the elections, which I still do not buy into. And that is a true confession. I'm not alone. There are a lot of people out there who feel that way. I do not believe that we had free and fair elections in this place. My personal opinion. Forget about everybody else out there who feels that way. That's my view. AB, let's now forget about George Grant for just a minute. AB, there were two well-respected, I believe, observer missions here. OAS, CARICOM. They couldn't come out and say, nah, don't go by the results of that election. They could not do that. I mean, these are government agencies, eh? But Amy, they raised some very serious concerns, sir. Serious concerns, which sort of endorsed the concerns that the general public had prior to the election. We are getting ready now to go into a referendum, which is a process where essentially we're using the same mechanism, voting, I think you call it, to approve the CCJ. No effort has been made to address the concerns of the OAS nor the CARICOM observer missions. Can you therefore disagree with me when I say I agree with what you suggested this morning, that maybe this thing is a foregone conclusion? Tell me, Amy. Tell me.
And that is why those individuals who share your concerns must be prepared to go out and vote no. And let me elaborate on that. It is clear when you look at the arguments that have been made and that the people who have been brought in to promote it, that the issue of participation and democracy has been completely thrown out of the window. It is many, many years ago that Ralph Gonsalves, shortly after he became Prime Minister of St. Vincent for the first time, addressed a small group in Grenada, I think it was in Norton Hall, and explained that under our constitutions, this Westminster system of parliamentary democracy, he went into great detail regarding the powers of the Prime Minister. And people who listened, I think, understandably formed the conclusion that Ralph Gonsalves was going to be different. We were all sadly mistaken. because having researched the extent of the powers of the Prime Minister, which appeared to be almost unfettered, he has demonstrated how these powers are used, and we have seen that he has had willing acolytes up and down the Caribbean. And I would suggest that there are more pressing constitutional issues than the final Court of Appeal. I would suggest that perhaps the most pressing issue is one which would address the apparent unusual outcome of the last elections here, and that has to do with the need for proportional representation, because it cannot be good for any society. It cannot be good for attracting foreign direct investment when you look at a country where there is no parliamentary opposition. We might as well have a military dictatorship. We might as well be living in Venezuela, and you see the outcome there.
Yeah, frightening stuff, sir. Frightening stuff, but I guess it's one of the realities that I don't accept it, but it's here, and it's something I have to live with. It's something we all have to live with. By the way, let me ask you.
And as long as we're able to put the X,
yeah,
I think that the time has come for us to say enough is enough. Until you address the fundamental issues,
yeah,
forget where you're going with this. Because the argument about breaking the chains of colonialism has nowhere going as long as Chester Humphrey is wearing a wig.
Yeah, yeah, I understand that one. I was just going to ask you, AB, there's been a lot of activity in the Facebook recently about a video that's been circulating about supposedly an armada of ships assembled.
Oh, come on. Don't tell me you're in that foolishness.
No. I just wanted to hear your comments because this thing has gone viral on Facebook.
From the time it came out, I deleted it. It's garbage.
Yeah.
But what's interesting was when the Deputy Commissioner of Police addressed the matter on the news the other night, he said that the RSS and the RGPF have no intelligence regarding any of this. So as far as they're concerned, that isn't so. And then he made a little addendum and he said, but if somebody else in government knows about it, I don't know.
So in other words, there is a possibility.
Let's put it this way. The good thing is that since there is no opposition in Grenada, then the invasion can be coming here to take the opposition away.
Yeah.
As the Saudi Arabians appear to have done with a single journalist. I would recommend to you that you don't go into any consulates on island. Actually, even worse, I think the Chinese have an embassy. I would suggest you better don't go there.
Yeah, okay, Mr. Brzezinski. Well, I think we both vented our comments this morning, and there's been a lot of concern lately from people who are afraid to speak out the way you and I have this morning. I don't know about your case, but in my case, I think everybody knows about the persecution that I've had to undergo. So I hope that people will take your advice and open up, start talking, because like you said, enough is enough, and I'm hopeful that they're listening.
Okay, have a good day now.
Yeah, you too, Mr. Brzezinski. Have a good day, folks. After having taken a look at that piece, can you understand why I found it necessary to do a rebroadcast this morning? That was initially aired at about this time yesterday, 24 hours ago. We're dealing with very serious stuff here, very serious stuff. And please, Grenada, please, I'm asking you to stop and think, listen, so that when you make your decisions, I'm not going to tell you to vote yay or nay, but please, when you make your decision on November 6th, just a few weeks from now, it will be an informed decision. There's a lot of information being thrown at you these days from both sides of the fence. So you have absolutely no excuse. But like Allan said during that piece, enough is enough. But that's not going to do anything unless you, the people, respond. Don't just be hush-hush about it, and well, those who are not being hush-hush, you jump on a telephone, your smartphone, you call a radio station, blah, 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 blah. And 9 times out of 10, the stuff that they're saying, so ill-informed, so ill-informed. So try and learn the facts. Even having heard what you've heard here this morning, check it out. Check it out. And make sure that it's factual. Please. Please. If you love this country as much as you say you do, give some thought. Okay? Now, I'm going to take another little break here, and I'm going to come back with some bright news. We like to wind up this segment with something positive. And I do have some promises that you can look forward to. Not the kind that you've been hearing on the street and from whomever. Stuff that you can really, really count on. So let me take this little break, and we'll come back.
Grenada Market has now introduced the prime products to online shoppers in the UK via amazon.co.uk. Zeberpick, Nutmeg, Bourbon-Day and Mobiback are now available, with more products being added gradually. These products are shipped across the UK and Europe free of charge for Amazon Prime members and backed by Amazon's reputable customer service. Avoid international shipping. Buy in your local area. Amazon.com in the USA, Amazon.ca in Canada, and Amazon.co.uk in UK and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
GRENADA Community Partnership Initiative.
We're here in sincere appreciation to GRENADA Utility Corporation for the donation of that rooftop solar generating plant. It would reduce our monthly bill. On behalf of the Hillsview Home residents and the wider community here at Gove, to just thank GRENADA most sincerely for that thoughtful donation.
GRENADA, energizing our community.
Grenadian General Insurance Company, strength and stability. Grenadian General Insurance Company, tell your friends, tell your family. We cover householders comprehensive, motor and even fire too. Contractors all risk burglary, public liability, professional indemnity, directors liability, and wait, we still have more. Come and find out more what you're waiting for.
We are located on Scott Street, St. George's. For more information, call 440-2434.
Tell everybody.
Alrighty, folks, in addition to those of you whom I said hello to earlier on this morning, also want to acknowledge the presence of Marcus Williams, who seems to be enjoying the program, and Judy Lewis Joseph. I'm not sure where either one of you are, but I'll tell you, it's nice to see you on Facebook this morning, and a whole lot of people on the other platforms joining us around the world. Thank you so much for being here. Now, I did promise you that I'm going to leave you with something positive this morning. Yesterday morning when we began the program, I said to you, hey, listen, I'm exercising my right. I have a right to be happy. And so yesterday morning I began the program on top of this world. And I'm going to end today's program on top of this world because of the promises that I'm about to share with you. The Lord will establish you as his holy people, as he promised you on oath, if you keep the commands of the Lord your God and walk in obedience to him. Then all the people on earth will see that you are called by the name of the Lord. And guess what? They will fear you. The Lord will grant you abundant prosperity and the fruit of your womb, the young of your livestock, and the crops of your ground, and the land that he swore to your ancestors to give you. Keep those words close to your heart today. Know that there are better days ahead. It's all in here. Yes, I'm not blaming you for being concerned about what's taking place here in Grenada. We should be concerned. But there is a brighter day ahead, thanks to our loving God. And my dear friends, on that note, Georgie Porgy is gonna punch up a little extra here and say thank you so much for joining us. And on Sunday morning, I certainly hope you'll be able to join us for the next edition of Sundays with George Grant, 9 o'clock. And remember, there is not a rebroadcast at 6 o'clock in the evening. The reason for that is that once the program ends at 12 o'clock on a Sunday, it goes up to Facebook and then to YouTube. So you can go, you don't have to wait until 6 o'clock in the evening. You can go listen to it at any time your little heart desires. Okay? So, on that note, I'm going to send you God's blessings. And we'll see you on Sunday. Okay? Thank you again for joining us. And try and make it on Sunday. And by the way, spread the word around. Later on today, we're going to have the rundown for this coming weekend up on the GRENADABROADCAST.com website. And I certainly hope you're going to have a good time on Sunday.